If you are online right now, I mean, seriously plugged into the cultural conversation, you are watching probably the biggest fight of the 21st century unfold.
Oh, yeah. It's everywhere. On one side, you've got this explosion, right? Generative AI, Midjourney, Sora, ChatGPT, Suno, just churning out images, video, music, text, you name it, instantly.
And on the other side, you have this passionate, almost visceral defense of, well, humanity, human creativity.
And the language is intense. You hear it constantly. It's soulless.
It's cheating.
It lacks human intent.
It's just theft, the greatest hits.
Exactly. And it feels like this sudden, unprecedented crisis, doesn't it? Like machines are finally coming for the core of what makes us human, our ability to create. In reality, though, it's a historical fiction. It's a panic that's like 150 years out of date.
Wow, okay. So you're saying this whole freak out, it's not new, it's just a rerun.
Totally. A predictable drama. We've seen it play out again and again with any big transformative technology. The script. Identical.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the historical echo here?
All right, picture this. Paris, 1859. You've got the super influential poet and critic Charles Baudelaire.
Right, Flowers of Evil.
That's the one. He looks at this brand new tech photography and just rips into it, publishes this scathing critique, calling it, and I quote, art's most mortal enemy.
Seriously.
No.
Mortal enemy, that sounds familiar.
Doesn't it? He said it was just for failed painters, called it mechanical plagiarism. It is exactly the same level of rejection, the same language we hear about AI right now.
It's that moment, isn't it? When the old guard feels threatened, their whole world, economically, aesthetically, feels like it's shaking.
Absolutely. Every single game-changing creative tool, think about it, oil paint tubes, the printing press, synthesizers, they all start out as a scandal.
Okay, so what's our mission today then? If this isn't new, what are we digging into?
Our mission is clear. We're doing a proper deep dive, building the comprehensive, the unbreakable defense of AI art. We're going past the noise, using history, philosophy, law, building the case.
Okay, and the core argument?
The core argument is that AI isn't some invading alien force stealing our souls or our art. It's actually aggregate human intelligence. The AI, it's just a mirror. Think of it like that. It's trained on this colossal archive of everything humans have ever created, right?
The sum total of culture.
Exactly. So it reflects our collective memory, our tastes, our weird obsessions, our desire to constantly find something new, something astonishing. It's us, reflected back.
All right. Aggregate human intelligence. I'm with you. Let's unpack this defense. You mentioned a triple shock.
Yeah, starting with the lie. This is the big one, the main aesthetic pushback you always hear. That anything a machine makes is inherently cold, soulless.
Mechanical, devoid of human spirit, intention, all that.
Right. That's the hill the critics are planting their flag on.
But it's a hill that's basically crumbled under scrutiny before, hasn't it? Multiple times.
Oh, completely. This objection always mixes up the tool with the intention behind using the tool. Remember John Philip Sousa, the March King?
Of course. Stars and Stripes Forever.
The very same. When recorded music first appeared, the phonograph, Sousa went on the warpath. He insisted it would turn music into a, quote, mathematical system of megaphones, wheels, cogs, and cylinders.
Wow. He really thought it would kill the living, breathing soul of a performance.
Sounds dramatic, right? This idea that cold math can't capture beauty or soul. But what actually happened? Did the phonograph kill music?
Clearly not. It did the opposite.
Exactly. It liberated music, spread it globally, made it accessible. It paved the way for brand new genres full of soul jazz, blues, rock, hip-hop.
So the tech actually amplified the soul, shared it wider.
Precisely. The lie is assuming the human part just stops where the machine starts. But the intention, the choice to use that tool, how to use it, that stays human, which is why that objection always, always fails.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's the lie. What's the echo?
The echo is this incredibly predictable historical pattern. See, when a new tech just helps a human skill, like, say, a better type of oil paint, people adopt it pretty quick.
Sure, makes the existing job easier.
But when a technology seems like it might replace or substitute a core human skill, think the camera potentially replacing the need for realistic portrait painting, that's when the alarm bells go off. Hostility kicks in.
Right, the fear of being made obsolete.
And the cycle is clockwork. First, hostility, then a period where artists start messing with it, experimenting, and finally, boom, it gets integrated. Becomes a revolutionary new art form we can't imagine living without.
Happened with the printing press, photography, synths.
And it's happening right now with AI. It's just the echo repeating itself.
Okay, so lie, echo. Then the mirror. How does that tie in?
The mirror is the philosophical anchor. It establishes that these AI systems, they aren't creating out of thin air, ex nihilo. They're synthesizing. They're pattern-matching machines, generating outputs based on the entirety of human creativity they've learned from.
You know, it's funny, we talk about AI learning, but isn't that fundamentally what human artists do too?
Exactly. Think about our own brains. We're biological neural networks, right? When a painter or a musician creates something new, are they pulling it from some magical void?
No, they're drawing on everything they've ever seen, heard, read, experienced, every piece of art, every conversation.
They synthesize it all, and crucially, they don't track down the descendants of Picasso or Bach to ask permission to be inspired by them, do they?
No, definitely not. That would be absurd.
AI is doing the same fundamental thing, just at an unbelievable scale and speed. It's learned from our collective output.
So the AI is like this hyper-fast reflection of everything we've already put out there. It's a product of us.
A natural extension of our own drive to create, to innovate.
And this circles back to a really fundamental point. All art is, in a sense, artificial. The word itself, right? Artificialis in Latin.
Meaning of or belonging to art.
Yeah.
Good pull. Yeah, from the first handprint on a cave wall to a complex digital animation, art requires human intention, human action.
Whether that action is mixing pigments or writing a complex prompt.
Exactly. So when an AI spits out some incredible image, it's not random alien code. It's assembling forms, colors, compositions that we find aesthetically meaningful based on patterns it learned from our art, guided by human intention via the prompt. We got to stop seeing it as this other thing. It's deeply intertwined with us.
Okay, so this historical context, these echoes, they really form the bedrock of the defense, don't they? Because they show this fear of replacement, of substitution. It's kind of irrational.
It is. The thesis is solid. The panic always fades, and the technology always leads to generation. It creates entirely new ways of making art, new kinds of art, new roles for artists.
Let's revisit photography and painting. Baudelaire's mortal enemy stuff. What was the real fear there?
Well, the critique was mechanical plagiarism, right? But peel back a layer, and the economic anxiety was intense. Imagine you're a local portrait painter in 1860. Your whole livelihood depends on painstaking realism, months of work.
And suddenly, there's this photo studio down the street.
Yeah.
Cheap, fast, perfectly accurate likeness.
Your clients vanish overnight. Painters genuinely thought their profession was done for. Cooked. Over.
But that's the beautiful irony, isn't it? The camera taking over the job of realism actually freed painting.
It was the greatest gift. Suddenly, painters didn't have to just copy reality. The camera did that better, so they could focus on interpretation, emotion, subjective experience.
Which leads directly to impressionism, expressionism, extraction, whole new ways of seeing and painting. Art redefined itself around feeling, not just accuracy.
And it wasn't just that they went separate ways. There was direct influence, a kind of symbiosis. Think Edgar Degas.
Right, the ballet dancers, the racehorses.
He was obsessed with Edward Muybridge's stop-motion photos. Muybridge proved, scientifically, how a horse actually gallops that rolling motion of the legs. It shattered the old, stylized hobby horse pose artists had used for centuries.
And Degas saw that and immediately started painting horses, realistically, based on the photographs.
He learned a new visual language from the machine. That's the pattern. The tech doesn't replace the artist. It pushes them, gives them new tools, new perspectives.
Okay, fast forward a few decades. Canned music.
Sousa's attack on the phonograph, you mentioned economics there too.
Huge factor. His 1906 tirade wasn't just artistic snobbery. You have to understand the context. U.S. copyright law back then was the Wild West for mechanical reproductions.
Meaning
record companies could press and sell recordings of songs without paying the composer a single cent.
Wow. Okay, so Sousa's whole living, breathing soul argument was, in large part, a brilliantly strategic PR campaign. He was a superstar, the March King. He used his platform to lobby, to fight for composers to get paid for recorded copies of their work. It was an economic battle disguised as an aesthetic one.
And did it work?
It absolutely did. It was a major catalyst for the landmark U.S. Copyright Act of 1909, which established mechanical royalties. The system adapted.
So again, the tech wasn't banned. The rules changed to accommodate it. Transformation needs evolution, not prohibition.
Exactly. Okay, one more historical beat. The 80s. Synthesizers. This one is pure job anxiety.
The synth wars. I remember hearing about this. The Musicians Union in the UK actually tried to ban them.
They did. Outright ban. They were terrified of mass unemployment for traditional musicians.
And what was the specific trigger? There must have been one.
Okay, you're going to love this. Barry Manilow.
Wow. Copacabana.
Seriously, he toured the UK using synthesizers and sequencers to replicate a full orchestra sound, saved a fortune on hiring actual musicians.
Oh my God. So the union's argument was literally, Manilow's synth is taking the bread out of our mouths.
Pretty much. Taking food out of the mouths of real players, it doesn't get more direct than that.
The irony is just delicious.
Yeah.
Imagine Barry Manilow inadvertently kicking off the synth pop revolution while trying to cut tour costs.
Right. And of course, the band failed miserably. What happened instead? That substitute instrument became the absolute foundation for completely new genres.
Synth pop, new wave, industrial house, techno, entire sonic universes built on the synthesizer.
They didn't just replace violinists, they created totally new roles. Synth programmers, electronic music producers, sound designers, the job threat turned into massive job creation.
The lesson just keeps repeating, doesn't it? Tech seems to automate a skill, but it actually pushes humans towards new, more conceptual skills.
Which loops us perfectly back to today and this lazy myth about AI art being de-skilled. The caricature is always push-button art, right? No effort, no talent needed.
Yeah, and that just fundamentally misunderstands where the actual creative work is happening now. It's shifted.
People need to get this. Creating genuinely compelling, resonant art with AI. It's deeply human, it's iterative, it's collaborative with the machine, it takes thought. The labor didn't just evaporate.
It moved. From the dexterity of the hands, the craft of the brushstroke, the chisel work to the sophistication of the head. Conceptual dexterity.
I love that term. It's not about how steady your hand is anymore. It's about the richness of your vocabulary, how precisely you understand culture and art history, how much foresight you put into your prompts.
The AI artist has to navigate this vast, high-dimensional space of ideas and styles.
Yeah.
And that space is just noise if you don't have the knowledge to guide the AI through it.
Okay, let's talk prompt engineering. Because it's not just typing cat astronaut, right?
Definitely not if you want something good. Crafting effective prompts is methodical. It demands that cultural literacy we talked about. You're specifying subject, style, medium, lighting, mood, composition, often tweaking and refining hundreds of times.
Give us an example. Novice versus expert.
Okay. Novice types a painting of a field.
Yeah.
Gets back. A generic field. Pleasant, maybe, but boring.
Right. What does the expert do?
The expert uses their conceptual toolkit, might prompt, a painting of a field in the specific style of the 19th century Barbizon school, rendered with the thick impasto brushwork of Van Gogh, under the dramatic chiaroscuro lighting typical of a Vermeer interior.
Wow. Okay. That requires knowing Barbizon, Van Gogh, Vermeer, understanding impasto and chiaroscuro.
Exactly. That deep knowledge, cultural, historical aesthetic that becomes the instrument. The AI artist isn't unskilled, they're re-skilled. Their knowledge is the compass.
This is where we need to unpack latent space, isn't it? Sounds super technical, but the concept is actually kind of thrilling.
It really is. Okay, ELI 5. Imagine latent space as this enormous, incredibly detailed map. A map of all human ideas, styles, aesthetics, and how they relate to each other.
So when the AI trains, it's essentially building this map.
Precisely. It learns where impressionism sits relative to realism, how blue relates to sad, how sharp focus relates to photorealistic. Every concept has coordinates on this map.
And a prompt is like giving the AI coordinates.
Exactly. You're telling it where to go on the map. And here's the cool part. Concepts that are similar are close on the map. So if you tweak one word in your prompt change, photorealistic, to painterly, you might only move the coordinates a tiny bit mathematically.
But on the map of possibilities, you could jump from a crisp photo to a loose, expressive painting.
Right. The artist's skill is learning how to navigate that map intentionally, how to combine coordinates from different regions to synthesize something totally new and unexpected. They become the ultimate digital crate digger.
Ooh, I love that. The digital crate digger. That connects perfectly to remix culture, right? Especially hip-hop.
It's a fantastic analogy. Sampling completely changed music production. The creative act shifted, didn't it? From composing everything from scratch.
To curating, collaging, transforming existing sounds.
And the real genius of producers like DJ Premier or J Dilla or RZA, it was the depth of their crate digging. Their encyclopedic knowledge of music history, finding that obscure drum break, that weird synth line, that perfect vocal snippet from decades ago.
And layering them, flipping them, transforming them into something that felt both fresh and familiar. Using existing material, the samples, analogous to AI training data with clear artistic intent.
That's exactly what skilled AI artists are doing. They're curating elements from the cultural map, the training data, and transforming them with intention through careful prompting and iteration.
So yeah, sure, anyone can type a basic prompt and get a generic image, just like anyone can pick up a guitar and strum a basic chord.
Right, but that doesn't invalidate the virtuoso guitarists who spent years mastering their craft. The existence of low-effort AI art doesn't negate the complex conceptual work being done at the high end. It's a medium, like any other, with a vast spectrum of skill and intent.
Okay, wow. So we've established the panic is just history repeating itself, like with photography, like with synths. And we've shown that creating good AI art actually requires this deep conceptual skill, this digital crate digging.
Right, the labor hasn't vanished, it's just evolved.
So if you're still with us on this deep dive, you are clearly ready to get into the really deep water, the most contentious part of this whole debate, the legal fight.
Ah, yes. The copyright showdown.
Yeah.
Is AI training theft, or is it fair use?
Exactly. And the defense here, based on existing legal principles, is incredibly strong. It actually reveals how the U.S. system, specifically fair use, is kind of designed for exactly this kind of disruptive innovation.
We're about to lay out why training AI is fundamentally learning, not copying, and why governments around the world are actually starting to lean into allowing it, not banning it.
Okay, but before we unlock that crucial legal layer and then get into how this tech might literally push us beyond our creative limits, do us a solid. You know the drill.
Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely consider joining our membership community. You get more deep dives like this, stuff that really makes you rethink things.
We genuinely appreciate you coming along for the ride. Okay, ready for the legal breakdown?
Let's do it. The big legal fear. AI models are trained on copyrighted works. Therefore, it's massive infringement. Shut it all down.
That's the claim. But the counter-argument, rooted in U.S. fair use doctrine, is that AI training isn't infringement because it's a highly transformative act of learning.
And this really leans on what you could call the parity principle. Think about it. How does a human artist learn?
By studying. Looking at thousands of paintings, listening to countless hours of music, reading tons of books, absorbing the rules, the styles, the structures.
Exactly, and they can do that legally. No one expects a music student to pay royalties for analyzing Beethoven's scores to learn harmony. So the principle is, if a human can learn from the vast library of existing works, an AI must have that same freedom.
To deny AI the right to learn from our culture is basically to kneecap innovation before it even starts.
Okay, but let me push back here. Play devil's advocate like the critics do. They always say, but the scale, it's different. A human studies maybe thousands of works over years. An AI ingests millions, billions of data points in weeks. How is that parity?
That's the key question, right? But legally, scale alone doesn't change the fundamental nature of the activity. Think about a person with a photographic memory, a true eidetic memory.
Okay, someone who remembers every single page of every book they read.
Would we accuse them of copyright infringement just because their capacity for learning and recall is vastly greater than average? Of course not. Memory isn't illegal. Skill isn't illegal.
So the scale argument is a bit of a red herring. What matters isn't how much it learns, but what it does with that learning.
Precisely. And that brings us straight to the core legal shield, the transformative use doctrine under fair use.
Right. This is crucial. Why is AI training considered highly transformative in a legal sense?
Because the AI isn't acting like a photocopier. It's not designed to store and spit back perfect copies of the input data for the public. That's not its function.
Its function is education. It's teaching itself.
Exactly. It's analyzing the input data, the images, the text, the music to identify abstract patterns, rules, relationships, stylistic features. It's extracting the underlying logic of creativity, if you will.
It's learning about the art, not just memorizing the art itself.
Think about the Google Books case. Google scanned millions of copyrighted books, huge outcry, but the courts ruled it was fair use. Why?
Because the purpose wasn't to let people read the whole books online for free. The purpose was to create a searchable index, to enable data mining, research, a completely new transformative purpose that didn't replace the market for the original books.
AI training is the same idea. It's using the data for a non-infringing transformative purpose, building an understanding, creating a statistical model of human creativity. It's data mining culture to learn its patterns. Just to reiterate, it's not a database that pulls up an exact copy of the works of others.
And that transformation point directly tackles the market harm factor in fair use analysis. Critics constantly worry that AI outputs will destroy the market for human artists.
But are they really substitutes? If an AI generates an image in the style of Van Gogh, does that suddenly make people stop wanting to see the actual Starry Night?
Probably the opposite, right? It might even spark new interest in Van Gogh. The AI output isn't competing in the same market as the original artwork or the original artist's unique pieces.
It creates a new market, a market for AI-generated images, AI tools, AI assistants. It's additive, or at least parallel, not purely substitutive. Just like listening to a cover band doesn't destroy the market for the original band.
Okay, that makes legal sense. But let's be real. The situation feels chaotic right now. Lawsuits flying everywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel settled.
Oh, it's definitely chaotic. But that's also predictable. Think back to the early 90s when hip-hop sampling blew up. There was total legal chaos. Lawsuits left and right against artists like De La Soul, Biz Markie.
Right, the Wild West of sampling.
But what happened? Did sampling get banned? Did hip-hop die? No. That chaos forced the industry to figure it out. It led to the whole system of sample clearance, licensing fees, new economic models.
The legal framework caught up with the creative practice. It enabled it to continue while ensuring creators got compensated.
That's the likely path here. The goal isn't banning the tech, it's developing sophisticated new ways to manage the rights and compensation involved in training data. Evolution, not abolition.
And it's not just wishful thinking. Globally, governments are already moving this way, aren't they?
Yeah, several key jurisdictions, Japan, Singapore, the EU with its TDM exception, Israel. They've already put rules in place that explicitly allow text and data mining of copyrighted works for research and AI training.
They see it as vital for innovation, for staying competitive. They recognize that preventing AI from learning is basically choosing to fall behind.
Okay, so if the legal path is likely adaptation, not prohibition, what does this mean for creativity itself? What happens when we fully embrace AI not as a threat, but as a collaborator, a co-conspirator?
Then things get really interesting. Because AI can help us break free from our own limitations, our own ingrained biases as creators.
What do you mean, biases?
Well, think about any artist. We all have our habits, right? Colors we gravitate towards, shapes we prefer, compositional tricks we rely on, even subconsciously.
Creature comforts, creatively speaking.
Exactly. And those habits, while they define our style, also limit us. They involve compromise, predictability, an AI model. It doesn't have those built-in aesthetic preferences. It just tries to perfectly match the prompt.
So it can potentially generate solutions or ideas that a human stuck in their habits might never even conceive of.
Precisely. It can push us beyond our comfortable defaults, which leads to this idea of moving beyond archetypes.
Okay, intriguing. How does that work? Let's use an example.
Right. The classic example is the chair. If you ask an AI or even a human designer to design a chair, what happens?
You get, well, variations on a chair. Something with legs, a seat, maybe a back. The archetype of chairness.
Exactly. You're invoking this ingrained cultural symbol. It's actually kind of lazy prompting because you're limiting the AI to our historical baggage about what a chair is.
So how do you break that mold using AI?
You stop prompting for the object and start prompting for the pure function, using something like radical-centric design principles. Instead of chair, you ask the AI to design a radical-centric device that elevates and supports the human body comfortably above the ground.
Ah. You remove the word chair entirely. You describe the core purpose.
Yes. And suddenly you liberate the AI. It's not bound by the image of a chair anymore. It might propose solutions using magnetism, tensegrity structures, bioluminescent fungi, forms a human designer might never have considered because they were stuck thinking chair.
So the human role shifts again. It becomes about defining the problem, the function at a really deep conceptual level, and then curating the AI's potentially wild solutions.
It forces us to think more abstractly, more fundamentally about why we create things, not just what they look like based on past examples. It's exploring conceptual space, freed from the gravity of inherited symbols.
It taps into that individual creativity, the unique human ability to ask a really weird boundary-pushing question.
And the goal isn't to replace human intuition, but to augment it. To use the AI's unbiased processing power to explore possibilities our biased brains might miss.
And this isn't just theory. The established art world, the ultimate gatekeepers, are already signaling that this is legitimate.
Absolutely. Look at MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Huge institution. They commissioned Refik Anadol's Unsupervised.
That giant morphing data sculpture driven by AI.
Yeah, where a custom AI model basically dreamed based on MoMA's entire public collection archive. That's not some fringe experiment. That's a massive statement. the heart of the modern art establishment saying, yes, an AI can process and synthesize art history to create new, meaningful artistic experiences.
And then there's the Getty Museum acquiring its first AI piece.
Christian and Ella Mordecai. And what's crucial is why they acquired it. It wasn't just, ooh, AI art, cool tech.
No, the curator specifically cited its conceptual strength. The artist used AI to explore queer identity in a context where traditional photography would have been too dangerous for the subjects. The medium enabled a concept that was otherwise too risky.
That's powerful. And the museum also explicitly acknowledged the artist's process, the months of work, the hundreds of commands and choices involved in iterating and refining the piece.
So they validated not just the output, but the craft, the conceptual labor involved in using AI as an artistic tool. It countered the push-button myth directly.
So when you put it all together, where does that leave us? Where does it leave you listening right now?
Well, we've seen the panic as just an echo. Photography, synthesizers, same fears, different tech. History tells us this settles down.
We've seen the legal arguments for fair use are strong. Training is learning. It's transformative. The system will likely adapt, create frameworks, not ban it.
And artistically, it's not replacement, it's augmentation. AI is this incredible new instrument pushing us past our creative habits, beyond old archetypes, into really new territory.
Which brings us back full circle to that very first idea you threw out, this whole human obsession with dividing things into artificial versus natural.
Yeah, maybe that distinction itself is, well, artificial, flawed.
Think about it. We build these hierarchies.
Yeah.
But take a bird's nest, made from twigs, mud, natural elements following laws of physics. Then take the Taj Mahal, made from marble, stone, also natural elements, also following laws of physics and engineering.
Are they fundamentally different in kind, or just different expressions of complexity emerging from the same natural universe?
Yeah. If an AI system exists within our universe, built by human minds using mathematics and physics derived from observing this universe, is its output truly artificial?
Or is it just another fascinating manifestation of the grand continuum of creation? A new way complexity is emerging.
We're maybe entering an age of what you could call intentional spontaneity.
Ooh, like a Jackson Pollock painting. He didn't control every drip, but he intentionally set up the conditions for those drips to happen in a certain way.
Exactly. He orchestrated a process with designed unpredictability. Maybe AI is just a vastly more sophisticated way to orchestrate that kind of intentional spontaneity.
A tool to explore the inherent creativity of the universe itself.
Perhaps. The universe seems to enjoy creativity, complexity, emergence.
Yeah.
Maybe AI is just the latest invitation for us to participate more deeply in that cosmic play, a new instrument in the orchestra of creation.
Wow. Okay, that's a thought to sit with. Keep exploring, keep questioning, stay curious.
And keep creating. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We'll catch you on the next one.